Since August 2015, we haven't had anyone. We haven't been making any videos for OIC movies. We have a new 504 board director. I was kind of wondering what that meant. A lot of people have a lot of questions, so I'm going to go ahead and explain that. People are wondering if that affects all hospitals in the U.S. or if it's just, depending on where you live. And yes, it does affect the entire United States. It's a federal law. So as soon as the hospital gets money, like, for example, Medicare or Medicaid, the federal government is obligated to follow this law. A few hospitals will try to scapegoat it, and they won't have to follow them, but mostly just hospitals follow this law. Some people call the job an ADA coordinator. Back in 2015, I was talking with a lawyer. Well, he was an ex-lawyer. We had several discussions about the ADA law and the 504 coordinator position. But he said that the terms are interchangeable, 504 coordinator or ADA coordinator, either one. So if people don't know what the 504 is, you can tell them it's the ADA. It's the same law. So hospitals prior to this law should have been providing interpreters. And I mean, of course, in emergency situations, it's not always possible. I mean, so this addresses what you're supposed to do if the hospital says no, and if they refuse to provide an interpreter. And if you're trying to communicate to them, I don't hear you, I don't understand, deaf individuals are forced to write. And it's important to keep all that written documentation and written back and forth conversations as proof. And make sure, they write down their name. A lot of times people will step back if you're asking them for their names or anything like that, and they get a little scared, so they'll try to find an interpreter. So if they can't find an interpreter, often it's a great idea to ask them to write down their name and then ask to speak to a supervisor. And if you do get the chance to speak with the supervisor, it's great to ask directly for the 504 coordinator. A lot of people don't even know what that means when you ask them. Even the higher management in hospitals, but the higher up you go, they should know what an ADA coordinator or a 504 coordinator is. And as soon as someone says they don't know who holds that position or what that even is, it's important to ask for their boss and their superior. Even sometimes if you change it and say the ADA coordinator, a lot of times they won't know. And then the next question out of your hands should be, okay, well, who makes the laws for the hospital? This has helped a lot in a lot of cases, but there's still issues. You can often ask petition advocates what happened, but a lot of times they'll lie and say they don't know what happened, and it's hard to get information on what's going on. And it's hard to figure out if you're asking them, well, who in this hospital hired you? A lot of times they'll lie and try to cover things up. So yes, this position does help get interpreters provided in emergency situations in hospitals. And again, if they say no, and if they don't want to write back and forth with you, or if you don't want to write back and forth, it's important to at least try to get this information. A lot of times, if you come dry with everything, you can go up to the Department of Justice. I actually had a terrible experience, with the state myself. And they were trying to tell me I didn't have a case. And I was saying, well, I have all this written proof. And they were saying, oh, that's not good enough. Sorry. And so I was becoming irate. And so I applied with the DOJ, the Department of Justice. And it almost passed, but I still was not successful. But I was able to sue. So I hope that is a clear explanation of the position. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me.